Hey guys, so this is my video of the process of making beef biltong. As mentioned, I'm based in Austin, Texas in the United States. So one of the challenges with that compared to when we made biltong in South Africa is the cuts of meat are kind of named differently over here. So I was trying to figure out and looking at blogs and whatever else to see if there are any clues of what kind of meat or what kind of cuts of the beef have worked out better for other biltong makers in the US. Just guys making their own biltong at home. I've gone, typically we'd use something like Silverside, works pretty well. I've seen guys here use brisket. Some have had success with that. Brisket can be pretty expensive. I'm assuming they bought some lower grade cuts. Anyway, what I've done is I've just gone with two types of meats for my first attempt. We'll see how it works out. So I've gone for some London broil roast. The reason I like that is you can see it's got that strip of fat on the outside, so kind of like Silverside. When you peel away that silver sinewy layer, you get that that one strip of fat on the outside like that, and that's pretty much like we used to seeing in the butcher shops back home. You'd ask them to trim the fat off if you want a leaner cut, but generally you'll get that fat which turns a nice yellow color when the biltong's ready. And these are pretty thick, so for some of them I've actually, cut off the inside, which then won't have that piece of fat. Some of them are lying deeper down right now in the vinegar. And then the second cut of meat I'm trying is a rump roast. And these, as you can see, don't have any fat. I had one piece of rump roast here. That's fat from the piece at the bottom, but these two pieces here are rump roast. They don't have any fat on them. And it's just a nice thick piece. It looks like it'll make pretty good biltong. I've seen some other people use it as well. It's got a tiny little bit of fat on the inside there, which is okay. But yeah, we'll see how this turns out. I'm interested to taste the difference between the two. So as far as preparation goes, the liquid that you see here is basically just distilled white vinegar. Okay. This is the curing process. This is what you use, to just cure the meat and make sure that there's, any bacteria, etc., that parasites that could possibly be in the meat, which you don't generally find with beef, but you never know. Anyway, it just cures the process. It just cures the meat and, make sure it kills all that, and it's ready before seasoning. So I'm going to let this. I decided to let this batch lie for about 4 hours. I've put a timer on for 2 hours to come and just flip some of them around. Some of them are lying in the vinegar and some are on top. They've all been dipped in vinegar on all sides before putting them in the dish, and then I just poured the vinegar and the remaining liquid over the top. And after 2 hours I'll just come and switch them out, so kind of they're lying equally in the vinegar for at least 2 hours, but 4 hours overall. To give you guys an idea, there's a place in Dallas area which I have ordered biltong from before, and they are fantastic. I love their biltong, but I'm paying about $30 a pound for their biltong. I've got about it's altogether just short of 6 pounds of meat here, which I bought yesterday at good old HEB. And with the meat and some of the spices I bought and vinegar and etc., that came to about $31. So I'm paying for 6 pounds of meat. Probably about the same as I paid for 1 pound of meat ordering through a business. So definitely cost worthy to make your own if you can have the time and patience for it. So when this is done, I'm going to take it out, kind of pat it dry with paper towel, and then start spicing the meat. Right, I'm going for traditional flavor my first time round. Traditional flavor is just plain salt, pepper, and coriander. I've got that right here. So I found this cool thing at HEB yesterday. There you go, HEB, awesome store, and Texas proud. But there you go, this true Texas barbecue salt and pepper blend. That's awesome. It's already mixed up. I've got salt and pepper at home. I decided why waste that. Not waste it, but why use it up? We use it for other cooking as well. Let's just get this blend here, which we can use for other braais and barbecues and whatever else. And I don't know if you can see the ingredients. There we go. I mean, the ingredients are just black pepper and kosher salt. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted. Okay. So that's already pre-mixed. Over here I got a huge bag of coriander seed. Okay, ordered this off Amazon at some point. Okay, you can see the seeds. I mean, I was going to use this for biltong. I want to make boerewors as well at some point, maybe some droewors. So that's what this is. The way you prepare this, I'm going to roast some of the seeds, dry roast them in a pan on the stove, just to kind of get that roasty flavor. And then what I'll do is I'll put this in my mortar and pestle, and I'll just grind them up, like just a kind of soft grind, just crushing them by hand. And then once that's done, I'll add the salt and pepper. I mean, it's about a third each, right? That's already pre-mixed, as I said. So I'll add a third of this and 2/3 of that spice. And then with the meat that's, you know, been patted down with a paper towel and dried, I'll then start giving it heavy seasoning, be quite generous with the seasoning all over it before then hanging it in the Biltong box. And so that's pretty much it. You cure the meat, pat it dry, spice it up, and then you're ready to hang it and let the drying box do its thing. Alright, hope you enjoy that. I'll post some pictures and some video of the process along the way. Okay, so there's my coriander seeds, just dry roasting on an oven or a stove pan. I've just switched it off. You can see some of them are browning. You definitely start hearing a little popping and crackling, and there's a beautiful aroma that comes off that. So that's what I was looking for, just kind of starting the caramelization process, and you know, just getting that smoky and kind of roasted flavor in there. And as soon as I, you know, don't want to burn them either, so as soon as I started hearing the crackling and seeing a little bit of smoke and smelling that, you know, flavor coming through, I've turned it off, and I think that's ready to grind. All right, and there you go. That's my mortar and pestle. I'm just crushing these. Oh, you can definitely smell that beautiful coriander smell coming through as I crush these. Roasting them definitely helps bring that flavor out and that smell out, that aroma. And when I say grind, this is what I mean. I'm crushing it. I'm not putting it in a grinder. I want that rough crush. Okay guys, so there's my crushed coriander, and man, I cannot tell you how good the smell is coming out of that. It is unbelievably good aroma. Just makes me lust for biltong and boerewors. And for those of you that don't know what lust means, South African for, I guess, craving. That's about less than half. I put the others already in a Ziploc bag. I'm going to mix the salt and pepper spice into this as well, and you know, just having it in a Ziploc bag helps. If I don't use all of it, I can keep the rest of it, you know, for making something else later. But that's what it looks like crushed up, you know, just kind of roughly crushed, and it smells so good. Okay guys, so there's my salt, pepper and coriander mix in a Ziploc bag. I mean, it's quite a bit. Thinking that's enough for 6 pounds of meat, for sure. I don't know how much I'll have left over, we'll see. I'm going to salt it quite generously. That spice that I used, that I showed you earlier, the salt and pepper blend, great smell to it too. I probably used about half of the bottle, as you can see. I just took however much coriander was, you know, in the bag after I'd crushed it, and I put double the amount of salt and pepper in. So it's about a third salt, third pepper, third coriander. Kind of that's my mix. I'm just winging it as I go. And then you know, Ziploc bag, nice to help shake it all up and mix it all together. So I think that's going to work out great. Okay, new plan. So I couldn't find the plastic S-hooks that I ordered off Amazon a while back, somewhere in my garage chaos. But so I've just got these 1.5 inch drapery hooks and pair of pliers, and just bending them to my will. They look like this. The packet, as you can see in the packet, and then I'm just bending them into S-hooks. I like these because they bend pretty easily, and you know, this piece will go over the dowel, and it's got a nice sharp point that helps get it through the meat pretty easily. So plan B, I'll just be making use of these that we had. And that should work out pretty good. I mean, you could use, as I said before, fencing wire or anything, but this would work pretty good. Okay, what I didn't mention earlier is there's you see the vinegar's a little bit brown. I actually added a little bit of Worcestershire sauce in there. Probably about a third to the vinegar, so 1 part Worcestershire sauce to like 2 parts vinegar. My wife's laughing at me because I'm doing that on purpose. Anyway, so this is the next step of the process. The meat's been lying in the vinegar, curing in the vinegar for, so I've got 6 pounds. I did it for 2 hours, turned it over, put the top ones at the bottom, etc. You can see it's a slightly brown color. That's from the curing process. And then I cured it for another 2 hours, so that's 4 hours in total that I'm using for my first batch. Next step of the process is, slightly pat this down on both sides. You can see I've actually already spiced up another piece, so there's some spices lying in the plate. Slightly pat this down and take my bag of spices which we've prepared and quite generously just apply that to the meat. Lightly rub it in, flip it over, quite generously add some more, and then I'll just make sure to get all the sides as well. Alright, here's my meat hook. Gonna apply that through the steak. That should be good enough. And we come over to the dryer. You can see I've already laid down some foil at the bottom, and I've got a piece in there ready. Shorter piece, here's the longer piece, and that's just ready to get drying. And that's it. Okay folks, and there it is. That's about 6 pounds of meat. That's ready to start drying. All cured, all seasoned, ready to go. Probably a rookie mistake I made is being over enthusiastic and doing 6 pounds of meat on my first attempt. That's a lot of meat to waste if I get things wrong, but I'm pretty confident this is going to turn out pretty good. Just depends. We're just going to see how long it takes to dry, but that's all ready to go. I'm about to put my Biltong box on and let this start drying, and I'll let you guys know how long it took eventually. And off she goes. Hoping this turns out as good as I'm expecting.